The first answer. What was the first answer? A, B, C, or D?
A.
A.
So group one, we could just pick one from group one. So whoever group one's, you're going for A, and group B, group two.
Who was group one? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know too. I don't know which group am I.
Oh, well, whoever was in, yeah, I thought
our group is number 2.
Yeah, well, whoever was doing the main work in group two, you were obviously not in group one, so I don't know how that worked. Okay. So you're both going A. Okay, you're going A.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this. So let me just resume share. Share. Okay, A. Energy system recovers approximately 95% in 3 to 5 minutes. A. Correct. Which energy system is responsible for producing lactic acid during exercise like stair runs?
Glycolytic.
So you're in group one. So whoever was in your group was in group one. So who was in, and Lucas is in group two. So whoever was in Lucas's group, so that'd be you, Brian, and whoever else. You were in group two.
All right.
Okay, so group two, we got group one are going glycolytic. Group two, anything?
Glycolytic, option C.
Okay, cool. Lactate threshold is best described as group one.
C.
Group two.
It's C.
Yeah.
C. Yeah, cool. I know I can make this bigger. Good. Stability training uses sensory and motor protons to send signals to the muscles to maintain balance. True or false?
True.
True.
No, it's neurons. It's not protons. I gave that one away.
It's a trick.
Oh, them. Okay.
That's a trick question. Sorry. That was a, that what?
So what is the answer? Sorry, I didn't
Neurons.
catch
Neurons.
that.
It's
All right.
motor neurons. It's not. Protons. So it's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a trick question. When designing an exercise program for a beginner exercise, it's best to focus on enhancing muscular strength before shifting the focus to improve the client's posture. True or false?
False.
False.
Yep, we did that yesterday again. Hypertrophy programs generally involve multi-joint core lifts with rest periods around 1 to 2 minutes long. Is that right or is that wrong?
True.
True.
Cool, yeah. 60 to 90 seconds, yeah. Power training often involves moderate loads performed at fast velocities.
False.
Yeah, false.
True.
Why?
Remember yesterday, where the question was, power training often involves high loads performed at fast velocities. And then the answer was, no, it's actually moderate loads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not high loads, it's moderate loads, so it's true. Like yesterday, the question was the opposite. So is power training involved in using high loads at fast velocities? No, it's moderate loads at fast velocities. You just remembered the answer, the wrong answer, like, oh, well, the wrong question.
No,
Yeah.
actually, I didn't remember that, but actually I thought it was like high loads.
No, moderate. Remember, it's high loads for strength training.
Yeah.
like a power lifter. But Olympic athletes, lower loads, but faster velocities, acceleration. So you won't get, you know, like an Olympic lifter squatting 1,000 pounds, but they'll probably be able to squat like 500-600 pounds, but they can move, they can do a clean with you know, like a bar, you know, quite heavy weight for their size. Okay, I gave that one. Parasympathetic will help stimulate an athlete during times of a high arousal, fight or flight. No, it's the sympathetic. Yeah. Sympathetic nervous system.
So it's false.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you, sorry, Peter, can you, I'm really lost on this question. Can you explain why? Is that right?
It's, well, it's false because remember, the sympathetic nervous system gets people up. Like if you want to get someone excited, if you want to get someone aroused for a sport or something, that's the system you stimulate, the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is when you want to get someone calmed down for something like yoga.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is, the parasympathetic is for calming. The sympathetic is for, you know, getting high arousal. So if you think about it, it's like before a race or an event, people slap each other or get angry or generate a lot of, you know, force because that it stimulates all that, you know, the what do you call it, epinephrine or normal, you know, adrenaline. It stimulates adrenaline and it gets you all excited. Everything, it's like that's what you need, that's what you want from during times of high arousal or fight or flight, because you want to move quicker. Like it was designed, animals would be hunting us and we'd have to get away from them quickly. So, you know, you put yourself in a position where you want to get away from it. Cool. Muscle endurance training involves which of the following subcomponents of training styles?
E.
Okay, so group 1 said E. What did group 2?
We had a big discussion about this. We put E, but we're not sure about that. We think maybe it could be B. But we're like in between those two.
Ow.
So both A and B.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So power endurance and strength endurance.
But power endurance, isn't it? Like power isn't explosive movement. What? I didn't know power endurance could be a thing.
Yeah, well, that's well, you're developing power. Like when we said about someone who's doing a bench press for 225 pounds for multiple reps, he's developing a lot of power, but then, you know, he's actually working across a period of time as well. And it's repeated measures. Remember, it's sort of like if someone's got to do repeated jumps, they've got to have developed power, but they've got to have the endurance to do it multiple times. You know, if someone's doing like a high jump or a long jump, you know, sometimes there's 4 or 5 rounds, and if it's all if it's all gone on that first jump and they never recover, that's why he said about on the video, you have to be able to access you have to be able to access the sort of like oxidative system to sort of give you the energy back for that kind of power endurance or recovery. I hope that covers it. That's a bit of a strange one, that one. An osteopath will commonly treat
A.
rotator cuff and cervical spine issues. Yeah. Well, hopefully take a more aggressive approach to rehabilitation as well. Yeah, so yeah, rotator cuff and cervical spine issues. The stretch shortening cycle involves which 3 key phases in order to activate?
B.
So B for group 1, and then for group 2?
We didn't get to that question. I can answer if you we didn't get to that.
What do you think?
I think it's A.
Remember, we spoke about it yesterday, eccentric phase, the amortization phase, where you're sort of building up, you know, building up that explosive force, and then the concentric phase where you develop it. So you sort of like, yeah, it's, we spoke about it yesterday for plyometrics. It's okay, as long as you, it's like A, you know, like you maybe think it's A because, but then you've got to think eccentric, you're sort of, you're lowering, so you're sort of storing up energy, ready to sort of like let it go. So if you can remember eccentric first, then the amortization phase, and then the concentric action is when you actually do the jump or do the movement.
Okay, yeah, I thought concentric was first.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's a learning process. That's what happens. You know, something happens and you figure it out, and then you move on. Okay. Undertaking lactate tolerance training will mostly help improve which of the following?
D.
So group 1 says D. What about group 2 you say?
D.
D. Yep. Both B and both A and C. Cool. Complete the table below on hypertrophy and endurance programming variables. Be sure to indicate the correct rep set and exercise range for each goal, 10 marks. So what was the first one? It's hypertrophy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yes.
go with group 1. You can do the first one, then group 2 can do the second. So what reps?
So 8
8 to
12
12.
reps.
Okay. Yeah.
3 to 5 sets.
Okay.
Rest between 60 and 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Intensity 60 to 85%.
Okay.
Number of exercises per session 6 to 10.
Okay, let's have a look.
It's blank.
It's coming up.
Ah.
Don't worry. So yeah, 3 to 6 reps. Power was first. I'll give that one away. I'll do both. I'll give them all. There we go. We go through all of them. So for hypertrophy, 6 to 12, 3 to 5, 60 to 90 seconds, 60 to 85, and then 6 to 10. Yeah, so you were right. So endurance, we've got 15 plus. We'll go through power first, 3 to 6, 4 to 10. This one's in the guidelines anyway. I just took this out of the guidelines. This is a good one to remember for the exam. If you can remember all these variables for, you know, like especially the reps one, you should be able to remember pretty easily. The number of sets, you know, for strength and power is roughly the same. Hypertrophy and muscular endurance are sort of close. The rest periods, they can stick in your mind pretty well. It's just remembering the percentage of 1 RM. And if you're close on this, like if you said to me less than 65% or less than 75%, I'd still give you the mark because you're close enough. It's not like, you know, because there's variables built into this as well, because you've got to think about beginner trainers, advanced trainers, you know, or intermediate and then advanced, because this is just a criteria, or this is just a standard, but it can adjust dependent on what place the person is in their training as well. Because if someone for me was coming in and they were a beginner, I wouldn't get them to do 85%. I'd probably get them to do maybe 75%, because I wouldn't want them working at that higher level for a beginner, and I'd drop the sets, so I'd maybe have 4 to 8 or something. So there's always variables built into this. It's not like set in stone. It's not like this must be right and this is exactly it. It's I'd give variability on this, because everything, as we said before, everything changes due to the specific regards or specific goals of the person and what they require. Did you get the ones for the second group? Did you get the variables? That's what I meant to ask you. How did you go?
Yeah, I got it right. I don't know about it now.
Yeah. Well, that's good. As long as you didn't use your book, that's fine, because I don't know if this is closed book or open book in the exam this time. It might be closed book, which makes it a lot harder. Define glycolysis. That's a tough one. How are we on that one?
Yeah. So it's the breakdown of glucose by enzymes, releasing energy and pyruvic acid.
Group 2?
Yeah, it's the breakdown of glucose by enzymes. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, just enzymes, whatever. It's just it depends on your accent and where the word's coming from. It's like yesterday about the shot put. It's like bullet or whatever. It's like words going to be different in different languages. So I don't mind if you don't exactly get it. English, enzymes good enough, whatever. So the breakdown of carbohydrates are the glycogen stored in muscles or glucose delivered in blood to produce ATP. That's the gold standard answer. So I'll let you copy that one. You were going even deeper to say about, using enzymes, or, or you could have say a catabolic reaction, because it's breaking down rather than an anabolic reaction building up, anything like that. But it's just extra, like breakdown of carbohydrates are the glycogen stored in muscles or glucose delivered in blood to produce ATP. That's the gold standard. Good. Move it up. Energy system production and use. Please explain these energy systems and uses with regards to sports specificity. So let's go with the ATP system first. Group 2, explain the ATP CP system. PC system.
Who goes first, sir?
Group 2.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yep.
I couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it.
No.
That's all right. Group 1, have you got an answer for that one?
So the ATP phosphocreatine system, it's like immediate and doesn't utilize oxygen. So it allows to around up to 12 seconds of maximum effort.
And what sports would you?
For example,
Someone's like, Lucas is on your tram.
Short sprints.
Sorry.
That's all right. At least you're still here. Short sprints. Yeah. So explosive sports, sprinting, javelin, you could say, or shot put, or anything that is explosive sports. So ATP system primarily supplies ATP for high intensity activities for short duration, e.g. sprints, etc.
Yeah.
Next one, the glycolytic system.
Group 2 or group 1 or
Group 2. Did you do that one? Did you do that one, Macha?
Me, sorry.
Oh. How'd you go? Let's go group 1 again.
Yeah.
These are all questions that are going to be in the exam. Like, I can guarantee 70 or 80% of these are going to be in the exam. So it's good to know these things.
So the glycolytic system, it's like the one that takes over after the ATP-PC system, after those 12 seconds, we can say. So till like approximately after the 30 seconds, and it
How long does it go for?
Sorry?
How long does it last for?
Up to 30 seconds.
Past that, it can go up to about 3 minutes, I think, or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But it depends on the intensity. Remember, if it's like an intense sport, like if it's like a 400-meter run, it's probably going to only last for like about maximum, not for 3 minutes or 2.5 minutes or whatever. It'll run out before, because the intensity is a lot higher. But if it's a lower intensity, like you're doing sort of fast running, like interval training or something, or fartlegs, it does recover. It does, it won't burn out as fast. Remember, you can interchange between all these energy systems. Moderate high intensities, short to medium duration, running once around a track. So if it takes you like a minute or 90 seconds to run around a track, depends how long it is, 400, 500 meters. It's moderate. Depends, but it can be short duration if it's high intensity, or medium duration if it's a lower intensity. And what's the thing about the two systems? What are these systems? What do they come under?
As in,
so what are they? Like you've got these ones are described as, what would you, like you've got the oxidative system. What
Anaerobic.
The what?
Anaerobic.
No, anaerobic. Remember.
Anaerobic, yeah, because they don't utilize.
They don't utilize oxygen. Yeah, so it's not in the presence of oxygen. So these are the anaerobic systems. So, and obviously the last one is going to be the
oxidative one.
Yeah. And what's that for?
That's for really long duration.
Yeah.
At low power.
Yeah.
So this utilizes more like fat.
What's so fat? What else?
Carbohydrates.
Proteins. Yeah. And obviously in the order it goes carbs, fats, proteins. It breaks down, and you use more energy to utilize that. So oxidative system for low intensity activities or long duration. Example, 30-kilometer cycle or a marathon run or a triathlon, anything like that. You still got to replace some of the, like if you're running, you still need to replace your carbohydrates and still need to replace your electrolytes, otherwise you'll cramp as well. But yeah, good. Classification of neurons. What role is what is the role of the sensory afferent neurons? I don't mind, either one of you can go on that one.
Yeah. So the sensory neurons are the ones that get like the information from the environment.
Okay.
Like when we touch a hard surface, for example, with the
Yeah.
and they send a signal to the rest of the nervous system about this information, like that will trigger maybe like a pain response or something.
Yeah. So carry impulses from the sensory receptors to the central nervous system. So that's the shortened version of exactly what you said. So, but it can be mechanoreceptors, like for pressure, nociceptors for pain or fast pain, chemoreceptors for changes in the body environment for chemicals, or buildup of waste products, thermoreceptors for heat or cold. So there's multiple receptors, but they all do the same thing. Carry impulses from the sensory receptors to the central nervous system. So if cutaneous sense organs found in skin detecting pressure, heat and pain, and proprioceptors detect stretch or tension as well. So if you've in a joint, if it's overstretched or they detect tension, obviously you get a signal to come back to say, hold on, like restrict the movement if it's going to damage. I'll let you get those answers down if you want. So group 2, what was the role of, if that's the afferent role, what's the role of the efferent neurons, group 2? So if they carry impulses from the sensory nervous system to receptors in the central, sensory receptors to the central nervous system, what do the efferent ones?
Then the answer.
The what?
Then the answer needed.
Okay, that's so carry impulses from the central nervous system to viscera, internal organs, muscles, or glands. Yeah, so they create a response. So remember, efferent or effort, or that's the way to think about it. So they carry nervous impulses from the central nervous system to viscera, internal organs, like for changing for trying to maintain homeostasis, the muscles or glands, to obviously, if a body, like if you're in the fight or flight response, your body produces stress hormones like cortisol and other things. Obviously your body produces adrenaline, and then that's a sympathetic nervous system response. So you run faster, and the adrenaline allows the ability to run faster, but then you get tired very quickly because your nervous system gets a bit overwrought, and you get a bit like cortisol levels start to build up in the blood as well, which is a stress hormone which causes irritability and like shakiness. That's the feeling you get once, if you've been in that kind of response, you get that sort of feeling of shakiness and unsteadiness. Okay, muscle fiber type characteristics. Fiber type, is it, so type 1? So what was type 1?
It's aerobic.
Okay. What's the force output?
I'm not sure if it's a slow twitch or what's
Okay.
the
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and it's a low fatigue rate.
Aerobic, yeah, it's low force output, and they are slow twitch muscle fibers as well, and they've got low fatigue, so they can keep going for longer periods of time. What about type 2A? Group 2?
Anaerobic.
Anaerobic, yeah.
For very high intensity and high fatigue.
Remember type 2A higher force output, but moderate to high fatigue. So type 2B or type 2X or whatever you want to go is anaerobic, very high intensity and then high fatigue. So remember and these are they interplay as well, like the energy systems. You know, generally start, you can generally start using the anaerobic fibers, but you never use them all in isolation. Like you'll come in and maybe use the lower force ones and then drop back to using, like type 1. And then if someone's chasing you, you need to accelerate very quickly. So you start using the type 2B ones. So it's like an interplay. That one's a tough one to remember, but a good one to remember as well. I'll let you take a picture or do what you need to do. So the next question, what's the principle called, which I showed you the answer, damn it, for the next one?
Henneman's principle, Henneman's size principle.
Well, that's very, very specific. The size principle describes the activation of motor in order of their increasing size. That's very good, Henneman's. Wow, even give me the reference. Extra 3 points for that one. Current athlete state should be determined via accurate testing using the following 3 variables. What are they? Validity. So there you go. I've given you that one. Validity. So is it a valid test?
Yes.
Any, like specifics on that? So
Specific.
Yeah. So is it a valid test? So refers to the degree which the test measures what it was designed to measure. A valid test is one that measures accurately what it's used to measure. So does it show accuracy, and does it give, is it designed to measure what it's meant to measure? It's no use doing a test using calipers when you want a mobility test. So is it designed to measure? And is it a valid test that you can actually say, it's like in body fat, you have, or body composition, you have the gold standards, which are hydrostatic weighing, bod pod, and DEXA. They're gold standards. They're valid tests, and some people say that skin folds are a valid test, but I wouldn't put them in the same league as, as the gold standards. I'd say that was more of a valid test. Reliability. So what's reliability?
It's like you're sure that the test can measures, like has consistency in the measure. Like
yeah, that's good. And what else?
Like
so it measures consistently, but what else?
Accurately. I don't know.
Deals with how consistently certain element is measured by the particular test, concerned with the repeatability of the test. If the person is measured 2 separate times by the same test or by 2 different people, the results should be very similar. So it's just trying to make sure that the test is you know, reliable over and over and over again. So you go, if I did this today, and if I did it tomorrow, would I get a very, or if you did it and I gave you the criteria or the protocols, making sure that we'd get roughly the same result. Cool. Norms. Norms. What are norms?
The base of comparison.
Yep. So it's a comparison point. And anything else on top of that? I'll give you. Represent the achievement level of a particular group which is measured. Scores can be compared. Norms provide a useful basis for interpretation and evaluation of test results. So it's, and as well as an achievement level, particular group. So if 25-year-olds can run 12K in 10 minutes, you know, whatever, ridiculous, that's ridiculous, but that's the standard we've got for that age group, so we can compare it to that age group. So if you're of a similar age or similar sex, you should be able to, if you're a good athlete, you should be able to run it in that time.
Sorry, Peter, I have to leave.
That's all right, no worries. Enjoy your day.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you. You too.
Economy. So what's economy?
It's like basically making things simple, the way of like using like a test that is straightforward, that won't use too much complex or expensive equipment, that it can be done in a short period of time and easy to understand and to execute, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It refers to the administration use of inexpensive equipment. Also, the limitation of time needed to administer the test, the simplicity of the test, so the person taking it can easily understand the purpose and results. That's the gold standard answer. I suppose if you can encapsulate that, is probably, is it easy to execute? That's probably the encapsulation of everything, you know. You know, getting that whole massive sentence down into one little bit is very tough.
Peter.
Yeah.
Can you scroll up a bit to the first three, just for a bit?
Yeah. That's fine.
That's it. Thank you.
Cool. Give 3 examples of speed, agility, quickness tests.
Beep test, Illinois agility test, and box step-off landing assessment test.
Illinois agility run, zigzag test, T-test, AFL agility test, box drill fitness test, the balsam agility test, the 555 agility test, and the hexagon drill. There you go. And then give 1 example of an acceleration test.
Acceleration. I had the, I don't know where I wrote it, but I think I wrote the 10, I don't know if it was 10-yard or 10-meter sprint test.
There we go. That's 3. 5-meter sprint test, 10-meter sprint test, or 20-meter sprint test. There you go. You just have light gates on that one. Yeah. It's very interesting now. I've been thinking about this all week because Tom Brady, who just won the Super Bowl again, he's won 7 Super Bowls. He was actually, they tested 196 athletes or something like that, or 160, I can't remember, 170, 180 athletes at the NFL Combine, and he came last for his position, for speed, for agility, for athletic performance. And it's not a great predictor sometimes of how well an athlete will perform. They can be, I know people, I've seen people who are supreme athletes, but they're not very good at sport. Go figure. You know, he was on the picks for quarterbacks for other clubs. He was like number 6 or number 7. He was like one of the last to be picked, and this guy's proven to be one of the best athletes in NFL history. So sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't say, oh, because they're good at this test, they will be a good athlete, because sometimes they haven't got the mental ability to do it. They haven't got the emotional sustainability. They haven't got the, you know, like the physical makeup to survive in the NFL. You know, they may, I've seen players that are great athletes and they have one bad game when they first start, and they just never get any better. They just never fulfill their promise. They just sort of just fade away, and it's a very strange thing. It's a psychological thing. So they may be great at all these runs, and you can say, oh, this is a predictor, but not necessarily. Name the 4 key principles of periodization.
Group 2, no? Okay.
Yeah, group 2. 4 key principles of periodization. Are you there? Anyone?
Yes.
Brian?
Individuality overloads specificity and reversibility.
Individuality, yeah, overload specificity and reversibility. Yep, so not all athletes are created equal, which is good. Overload, strength increases, resistance repetitions must increase to further increase strength. Exercise adaptation specific to mode and intensity of training. Reversibility, use it or lose it. Physiological systems can switch. What does the FIT stand for with regards to the FIT principle? You should all know this one.
Frequency and intensity, time and type.
Yeah. How often you exercise, how hard you're working, how long should you exercise in the target heart rate or in the 1RM, or, you know, in the maximum heart rate, or the percentage of heart rate, or, you know, the RPE, whatever it is, and then the type of exercise or activity. I think that's it. Well done. That's pretty tough, but we're on week 4, so by week, hopefully by week 8 or week 9, I think, when you have their exam, this should be second nature to you. Okay, so for the last half an hour or so, anyone got any questions on any of this, or do you want to go through finish off those cram questions? Or I don't mind, you can call it a day if you want. I don't mind. What do you want to do?
Are there gonna be in the exam, like, are there gonna be questions about the A-lactate training?
Let's have a look in
Because I was struggling a bit to understand that one.
Don't worry, I think it's hard for anyone to understand the lactic and the alactic. So let's have a look. I've got most of the questions in here. So let's go up to 23. That's where we were at. This is a new share. Okay. So in relation to learning styles, VARK stands for verbal action readiness knowledge. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So what does VARK stand for? Verbal action readiness, A, B, C, or D?
B, how was it?
Visual, action, repetition, and kinesthetic. What about the rest of you? What do you think?
Maybe A.
That one's a tough one. Visual, oral, read and write, and kinesthetic.
Okay.
VARC. That one's a pretty tough one. I don't know if you want to write that down or remember it somewhere, just in case.
Yep.
So it was D.
Give us a second.
I don't think there's a lot on the alactic or lactic system, but I'll get the exam before you get it, and if there's any questions that I think that you're not really up to standard on, I'll make sure that you have another go at them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Exercise program usually written in the following format: warm up, conditioning, cool down, introduction, safety check, socialization, cardio, strength, endurance, warm up, cool down, head count. That's pretty straightforward.
A, yeah.
Yeah, warm up, conditioning, cool down. Easy, that one. Contraindicates exercise can be best described as, we did this, I think this was just in the one we did. A, B, C, or D. You should all get this.
B.
Yep, an exercise that can increase your risk of injury or make existing injury worse. Perfect. Anatomy and physiology is the study of, we did this as well.
I think it's A.
Physical structures in the body and the function of these structures. Yeah. Connective tissue is attached bones. We've done one. BPM in group exercise relates to which of the following: heart rate during the class, speed, tempo of music, blood pressure, or structure of the music?
Oh,
B.
it's B, yeah.
Yeah, it's beats per minute. Yeah, not blood pressure, but yeah, but yeah, speed, tempo of music. Yeah. The main difference between choreographed and general group training is, what's the main difference? Is they are both the same. Choreographed is designed to music, general training is not. Zumba is freestyle choreographed. Choreographed is not designed to music, general training is.
B.
B.
B, yeah. Which of these is not taken into consideration when planning a group fitness session? Membership type, program, and clothing, footwear, or use of the towel. Age, fitness level twice. Studio space, equipment, status, and cleanliness, which is not a safety consideration.
A.
A.
Yeah, very straightforward. What are the prime movers in flexion of the elbow? We did this one as well. You should all get this one.
Biceps, C, I think. Biceps brachialis.
B.
Brachialis.